Hello, and thank you for coming to our in-service today on plagiarism. I think it's a very important topic. I think all of us are convinced it's a very important topic, and unfortunately, I'm sure all of us have some experience with it. What you'll see is that I've given each of you a KWL chart. I'm sure all of you, again, are familiar with how it works, that you write in the K the things that you already know, in this case about plagiarism, and the W is the kinds of things that you want to learn about plagiarism, and then we'll fill in the L as we go, the kinds of things that you'll be learning about plagiarism. So if you want to take the time now to go ahead and fill in the K and the W portions, that'd be great. So right now, my plan is that by the end of our training together, you'll all know what plagiarism is, and we'll come to some sort of agreement on that. I know I've had conversations in the past where people are like, well, I'm not sure, is this really plagiarism or not? We'll also discuss about the various things that cause students to plagiarize. We'll talk about why plagiarism is extremely detrimental, both in a moral sense as well as in a pedagogical sense. And then we'll learn probably one of the more important things as well, which is what we can do to curb student plagiarism. Now, what I've done for us today is I've gone ahead and created a few different scenes for us to watch and discuss, so that this way we'll have an idea of these types of things. So let's go ahead and we'll watch the first one.
Okay, class. You need to write a 3-page paper about what the important effects of World War II were and why they're important. We'll have laptops today and it's due in 1 week.
Student thinks, ugh, why can't she just tell us what the effects were and why they're important? Really? Do I have to do her work for her? Well, at least I can just Google it.
You are required to use at least 3 articles from our proprietary databases. And you need to have a works cited page in correct format.
Student thinks, you can't be serious. Like I have time for all of that. And we're all doing the same thing? Well, I suppose we can all trade articles, like she would know.
And this is an independent assignment. I want to know what you know, not what your neighbor knows. Go grab a laptop so we can all get started. This is your only day to work in class.
Okay, so let's discuss some things here. Okay, so for the scene, let's take a look at the assignment, and let's discuss where we think some of the mistakes could have come in from the assignment itself regarding the requirements, the resources that she was requiring, the kind of work time that she was giving in class and for the due dates and so forth, and the way that she framed the assignment as an individual assignment, everybody doing the same thing, rather than a group assignment and maybe different topics that were being assigned. So let's go ahead and discuss that. Okay, so I think that was an awesome discussion. Let's move on to the second scene. The assignment itself can set up some need or some opportunity for plagiarism. Let's look at our second scene now.
I hate doing this stuff. I don't even know what I'm supposed to write. Can't I just copy and paste these facts?
I know, right? Facts are facts. How can I even put them in my own words? And this article even tells me why these events are important. So what can I even add?
If I use all three articles and write the URLs down and copy and paste from all three articles, then it's okay, right?
Yeah, I think if you give credit, it's okay. Anyway, let's just get this done so we can get the A. That's all we really need anyway. And I have so many other things to do.
Yeah, we don't have time for this. Let's just get it done, get the A, and move on. Which articles are you using?
These are the three I'm using. Why don't you use these? I bet we can be done in an hour with this. Then, we'll move on to calc. Then, our bio report, and we'll read for English?
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, so let's take a look at the different points that were made from this scene. So this really was coming at it very much from the student perspective, and some things that were brought up were time constraints, what their real knowledge was about proper rules following MLA format, what needed to be cited, copy and pasting, the assignment requirements itself, and then the emphasis on grades versus learning. So let's go ahead and discuss these several points. Okay, so again, I think we had a really good discussion about that, and to see that students might actually be confused about some of these requirements, I think is important. Let's see what the teacher has to say about it in this scene.
Student, I'm very disappointed in this paper. All you did was copy and paste. And your works cited is just URLs. What were you thinking? Like I have time to read nonsense?
It's not nonsense. I found the three sources. I read them. I cited them. And what was I supposed to write? The article said the stuff better than I could.
The whole point was for you to research the importance of the events and for you to tell me why they were important in your own words, not the article's words.
But the articles even told me why they were important. Am I supposed to think differently from these articles? I couldn't think of what else to say, or how to say it better.
You cheated. This isn't your work. This is the work of three historians. I spent time reading your paper, only to discover it wasn't your work. How is that fair?
I just had so much other work to do, and I didn't know how to do this better, and I really need the A.
A. Ha, you have a 0. And I'm watching you closely now because you're a cheater. You wasted my time, and you tried to get an A the easy way. How is that fair to your classmates?
You don't think everyone else cheated too? Come on, everyone does it. We have no choice. We all have to get good grades. That's all that matters. I can't have a 0.
I'm going to discuss this with the principal. We need to punish you for what you did. And if it's true that the rest of you cheated, then we have to figure out how to deal with it.
Okay, so scene 3 was a bit confrontational. All right, so let's discuss this conflict with, really special, zeroing in on, what constitutes cheating, who was clear about it, what kinds of questions do we have about the assignment itself, the idea of it's the A that matters and everyone else is doing it and we had no choice and it's all about my time. These are all things that go into the narcissistic cultural norms that a lot of experts think students are suffering from, and sometimes even the greater culture is suffering from. And the idea of consequences. So, for instance, she didn't know what to do. She thought she'd give a 0, but then she decided she needed to discuss it with the principal. So let's go ahead and discuss all of these points. I think they're really quite critical. Okay, so let's see what happens when the teacher meets up with the principal.
Abe, I'm glad I bumped into you. I have to talk to you about student. He plagiarized his paper and he said that everyone else did too.
Plagiarism is a very serious offense. We don't know what the student really learned, if anything, and he's stolen information. That's not fair to the original author of the work.
And it's not fair to me, taking time to read work that isn't his, or to his fellow classmates, who did the work honestly. Should they get the same grade as him when he did nothing?
Did anything he said to you ring true? About everyone cheating?
I don't know. He said it's all about the grade. He said he had no idea how else to do the assignment. Maybe that was true, but he never asked for help.
It's a problem when students believe that they're only doing work for the grade, not for the learning. And, if he really didn't understand, that's an issue we have to deal with too.
What should we do?
Well, we spend a lot of money on Turnitin.com to check for plagiarism. They also have some great training modules. Maybe we should watch them and get some ideas.
That's a great idea. Maybe we can watch and discuss during a faculty meeting? Maybe we can have an assembly on it with the students.
Let's see what the trainings say, and we'll go from there.
Okay, so that was an interesting scene. Lots of different things that were discussed. The bad part of plagiarism isn't only the dishonesty, but also the consequences for learning. And then the moral questions, what it means for the original author, what it means for the teacher who is grading work that isn't the students to begin with, and the classmates who might have done it all honestly. How is that fair for them? So then it came into what kinds of things can we do to tackle the problem? What kinds of things need to be done as a school to really take a look at what these issues are. So we'll talk about that, and then we will talk a little about Turnitin.com. I know most of you have accounts, most of you are using it, but we should really discuss why people aren't using it and what kinds of things you feel you still need to learn about the service. So let's go ahead and discuss those things. Wow, I think, again, an excellent discussion. And let's see where this is going to go after some of the Turnitin training.
What did you think about that training? Honestly, I'm a bit insulted that they said my assignment was part of the problem. I believe what they said about kids being narcissists, only concerned with their grades, though. Yes, well, I suppose if we're asking them to research things that are easily findable and don't really force their thought, it makes it easier for them to cheat. It's still not okay. And, if they only care about grades, and not learning, then it's that much easier for them to justify cheating. They really don't seem to get the lack of fairness to the original author, or to their classmates, or to you, for that matter. This generation. In so many ways, these kids are more giving and more connected, but there does seem to be a big disconnect here. I did like some of their suggestions for dealing with the issue. I can't wait to try some of them in class. Should we do the lessons tomorrow? How about you do the essay one and I'll do the discussion one? Perfect. We'll get together afterwards and to discuss how they went. I'm still wondering what to do with student, though. Should he get a 0? Should I allow him to redo it? How about we try the lessons, see what happens? Maybe you have a clearer idea how to proceed once they've gotten the lesson.
So here they have had the training, and the two teachers come together to discuss it. And so they discussed how the assignment itself could have been a contributing factor, the narcissistic cultural norms, and how that could be a factor, all the different morality questions that that brings up, especially since the kids are, in so many ways, more giving and more generous than they have been in previous generations. And then how can teachers be the solution? So let's go ahead and discuss those facts. Well, I'm really glad that you realize that teachers can be the solution. So let's go ahead and watch some of the ways that you might be able to interact with your students to teach them this lesson.
Okay, class, it has come to my attention that people have been plagiarizing, cheating. I need to do something about this, so I've decided to assign an essay to each of you.
What? Another essay? Commande.
Yes, and I'm going to assign 3 different essays to see which essay works best in stopping the plagiarism.
Can you tell me what plagiarism is? Honestly, I thought if I gave the works cited page, I was good. What did I do wrong?
You really don't know? You don't know how to paraphrase or when to direct quote. You don't know how to do a parenthetical citation after both of them.
No, I don't. And you said to use proper form for the works cited page, and I gave the whole URL, but you said that wasn't right. I really am confused.
Well, perhaps we have to do a lesson on MLA format and on proper citations. Nonetheless, I need the class to write about plagiarism. This third, write 1,500 words. This third, write 3,000 words. This third, write 5,000 words. We'll see which arguments and supports work best. But, don't worry, you'll all receive the same credit.
You want me to write 5,000 words when those students over there only have to write 1,500 words.
Yes, but don't worry, you'll all get the same credit.
But you want me to do more. But then I'll only get the same credit. How is that fair?
Ah, fair? When you decided to plagiarize, you chose to do less than your classmates but expected the same credit. How was that fair?
Ah, touche, teacher, touche.
So I think that some of us are like, finally, she's getting through. So this is one of the ways that was suggested for dealing with the morality question for students. So the essay scenario. So first, the idea of teaching the proper quotation, paraphrase, and citation rules. Definitely something we need to discuss. I know not all of us require the same things or I don't know what your experience has been with how well your students know these rules. And then the question of fairness, and the work obligation and how that translates. So these are the things that we're going to discuss now. Okay, so let's go ahead and see how this teacher handled her lesson. She's an English teacher.
Ah, Carolyn, thank you for that. I think that was an excellent point. What, class, do you think was Matthew's motivation? Else?
I really think he was feeling betrayed by his brother, but he didn't want to do the same thing to his brother as had been done to him. So he took the high road, was better.
Class, did you hear how Caroline explained that? She's been on a roll today. Yes, Matthew did better than the others as his type of revenge. So, is he really better?
No, I think that because he still had the goal of revenge, he is just as contemptuous as he would have been had he acted brutally. His actions were honorable, but not his soul.
Okay, class, Caroline has an interesting point here, that actions can hide motivation, that there can be a disconnect between actions and intent. What do you think?
I think, teacher, that I have made the last two comments, not Carolyn. Why are you giving her credit and not me? I'm else.
Does it really matter who said it? They've been excellent points. We've all benefited by hearing them.
I think it does matter. They're my thoughts. Why should Carolyn get credit for my thoughts? I'm happy for everyone to hear them, to benefit from them, but they're my thoughts. Mine.
So, it matters who thought of something first. Their thoughts deserve credit.
Yes, I think so.
So, can you see then, why plagiarism is wrong? With plagiarism, the essay writer writes something as if it were her idea rather than the idea of the first person who thought it.
Wait, so it's like Carolyn taking credit for what I said?
Yes, or a third person, me, giving attribution, but to the wrong person. Based on what your history teacher told me, I see that we're going to have to do some work on plagiarism.
I think that's a good idea. I've known plagiarism is wrong, but not really why, and I'm never quite sure what plagiarism really is.
I think we'd have to do some lessons as a whole school so that all of us know what is right and what is wrong, and why. School's about real learning, not cheating, not a grade.
I think that's a great idea.
Okay, so teacher number 2 getting her lesson in. So she went about it a different way where the student was she gave credit to a different student for the work that she had been doing. So it was kind of interesting to hear the juxtaposition between what the student was saying about the story, about this disconnect, and then also how she was understanding her own actions and her friends' actions, and the idea of proper attribution, what should be the consequences for plagiarism, and what is wrong morally with it, and then the concept of it being a whole school effort so that everyone gets on the same page. So let's go ahead and discuss these points. Okay, so here we are on our final scene. Let's see how the teachers deal with what they've learned.
So, how did it go? It went really well. The students understood how giving wrong credit or no credit is wrong. They want to learn how not to make that mistake. How about you? It went well for me too. I learned that the students don't always know how and when to cite, paraphrase, and do a works cited page. They also realize it's wrong to take the easy way out, by copying, that it's not fair to their classmates. I still think they don't necessarily appreciate learning, not grades. But at least they want to do something about it. We can alter our assignments to discourage plagiarism. We can give more formative assessments to bring the love of learning back. And we can make sure to have a comprehensive curriculum, across subjects, so that they get the same message about academic honesty everywhere. I think we have a plan.
Okay, so let's take a look at their conclusions, all right, wrap up, as far as what they've noticed about skills, students understanding morality, how they want to focus on grades, but obviously as teachers we want to focus on learning, and then the concept of a whole school message, so that no matter where they're in class, they're all having the same requirements. Let's discuss this as far as their feedback, and then also see where it can apply to us here at Princeton High School. Okay, so again, excellent discussion. I think we've managed to do a lot today. Hopefully at this point your KWL is filled in. If not, if you want to take a couple of seconds to fill in that last column. And then what I'd like you to do is flip it over, and you'll notice I've given you a second KWL chart. What I'd like you to do is to fill in now what your new learning is, which is pretty much the L from the other side, and then what you still want to learn, because by doing this you'll really help us gauge where we should offer our next training. Okay, and these are the questions that we started out with, and hopefully by now you've answered regarding what is plagiarism, what causes students to plagiarize, why committing plagiarism is wrong and detrimental, and what we can do to curb student plagiarism. Here are some references, and because I'll make the Google Slides presentation available to all of you, you'll be able to go directly to all of these papers. But these were a series of videos that you can watch. They're all the ones that I used to base off, or that I based off of in order to do the videos in our discussion today. Okay. The other thing I would really appreciate if you could go ahead and link to this Google form, and then again I'll be able to see where you think we need to concentrate on for further exploration. Thank you. And here, by the way, is the questionnaire.